So I'm hoping this microphone is working. In fact, go down, click on that little R down there. Actually, click on, yeah. So, let me see here. Testing, testing. Testing. I think it's coming through. It's hard to tell. Well, we'll give it a shot. So, let's just go through kind of what, do you have files that you shared in terms of your own?
Yeah, I just
general
put
search or what you see?
this one up. This is just the parts list I put up.
Oh, sweet, okay.
I just put it in the Mango shell.
Yeah,
And then I
okay.
on here.
Okay.
Um,
And you want to try to edit this guy right now, or?
yeah, we could.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I can post it. I would just post another copy.
That's fine, yeah.
So I have the differential on there. I just put the cost. I didn't look up weights or anything.
Not a problem.
I figured if we want to put that in later.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's okay, I don't have a problem getting, two different, in fact, let's just get two differentials.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get two differentials.
There's a couple of different ones that we found good.
And I think we more or less decided that we're gonna do, and it could be that, well, I mean, I'd really like to decide on the transmission here, very, very quickly. But, I mean, it could be that maybe we do go with separate motors on separate wheels, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking from the control aspect, the differential's gonna be pretty key.
What's the advantage of two different motors?
Well, as you were seeing from Ryan's presentation, and in some ways simpler. But from a mechanical standpoint, it's simpler. It's, you know, two motors driving two wheels, bam.
Yeah.
But from a control standpoint, it's harder. If the motors, you might send the exact same voltage to both motors, but it's gonna mess with your steering.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the differential is probably gonna be the way to go. Just take the burden off of the control system.
Yeah. Then I have the wheels. I don't know if we wanted more than 4, but they're 20-inch wheels, 16.5 actual rim size.
And those are sort of bicycle wheels style.
Yeah, that solid aluminum.
That's amazing, yeah. So do we want to get, I think the price needs to be updated then?
It's 54 for each.
Okay.
So it'd be 108 for 4. Or 216.
216 for 4, okay.
And then the tires, they were 35 plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
I found them on eBay. There's a couple other sites, but they didn't have the prices.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's about $40 for shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes shipping 180.
Now, these other things don't need shipping?
They do. I didn't add them into the cost. It's about $100. The differential, the wheels, the axle stop ring, that will all get shipped from the same place. It'll be about $100. So it'll be
Okay.
whatever that is,
Okay.
plus 100. for
Okay.
those.
Okay.
I don't know how much those are. I didn't order those yet, so I don't know how much those are.
Okay, that's good. Just stick that in there, that'll fine, okay.
White chain.
Yeah, how, one bike chain does not seem like enough to me. Are we positive that that's all we need, or? Either way, let's get 2 bike chains.
Okay.
Let's get plenty of chain.
Yeah, it's like $2. Yeah, because the setup is basically just the differential and then the motor. So
Yeah.
basically just be.
Show the figure, right? I think you got it there.
Yeah, so I mean, the distance is really only that right there. And it doesn't matter what motor we go with. I mean, that's as far away as we need to go.
And the black portion is the differential.
This
No, the
is
silver portion is the
Yeah.
differential, there we go.
So this is a hub motor with that part,
Oh,
that machine part
yeah,
on it.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
either way you do it, if you throw a sprocket on just the motor we have, or however you do it,
Mhm.
you just mount it back from that.
Mhm.
The one thing I was thinking though is if we do, cause I think I was talking about using a cassette or some type of thing if we wanted to gear it or whatever.
Mhm.
But if we use a cassette, there's like you couldn't do regen if we wanted to do regen if you have a free spinning cassette.
Mhm.
It has to be a direct connection to the motor.
Yeah, that's right, and I think regen, as nice as it sounds, it's a pretty tall order for this machine,
Yeah.
so I think,
So
we could use a cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could do a cassette that doesn't spin freely if we had it, where it's just like welded, it doesn't free spin, because the motor will free spin itself.
Oh.
There's a little bit of resistance in motors, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not much. I think you get more out of it.
Okay.
I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to bring that up.
Okay, that's good.
Um,
Super, okay.
Chain rings, sprockets, yeah, so it depends on what else we put on it.
Okay.
And then if we do end up, I don't know what type of motor we're going, if we do that hub motor, then we'll just have to machine that sprocket for that. I don't
Do we don't have a hub motor.
know. No, it's just if we wanted to do a,
Do you have a reasonable price on a hub motor?
you can get a decent motor for 3 or 4, or 2 to 3, and then that Crystal Light motor, that's a really good motor, that you can do up to like 50 amps with.
Mm.
It's about 5 or 6.
$100?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we wanna go with that, and you can do,
Could you just add those in there?
Just hub motor?
Yeah. That's fine. And then on that differential, do you have a link to that guy?
yeah,
Is that
I
to-
put a link to the
okay.
wheels,
Oh, sweet.
axle, differential down here.
Okay, cool.
And then the tires on the eBay links on there.
Okay, nice.
Shocks, depends on what we go with, but, we can either do bike shocks, there's some cheap shocks, or if we wanna do like ATV shocks or something. Which, some of the control arm kits that I looked at, that's one thing we'll get to, but if we wanna buy just a kit, or if we wanna build our own, like, control or A-arms for
Mm.
the independent suspension. And some of the kits have shocks with them, but some of them are ATV kits, it's just how much is ours, like, in a way, so if their shocks
Yeah,
would be right.
okay, well, on that, put a note on the shocks. The vehicle is gonna weigh 400 pounds, and passengers, it might weigh as much as 800 pounds. So each shock is gonna need, take, let's just say a max of 250 pounds. And a bike shock might be okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it's rated for one human, and then like one bike.
Yeah, so it might,
One
I
shot.
think in the race, we're probably looking at 600 pounds max, maybe 550.
Okay.
So what's that turn into? Probably more like 150 pounds per shock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's almost even, that's probably right around bike shock. And then bike shocks there's some good like rock shocks,
Mhm.
they're bike shocks for about $80.
Mhm.
So it'd be about $340
Okay,
if we went with those.
sounds pretty good.
And that's, I think that bike had, they use like those rock shocks on there.
Cool, okay.
Disc brakes, so the brake kit, I saw that someone else brake, I mean, just the regular bike brake kit, that's what we're doing, and then just a cable splitter. And then you can run 2 disc brakes instead of 1.
Yeah, now, these cables are, they have to be a hydraulic.
Yep, and so they have hydraulic cable splitters.
Yep.
for bikes.
Okay.
They have, it's harder to find, but
Yeah.
I think the only ones I can find are in the UK,
Okay.
but they're $20 to $40
Nice.
plus shipping.
Nice.
or so. Just 2 of those. And then the control arms. So a lot of this I learned, I had to figure out the names of all these things.
Yeah, good.
So control arm, A-arm, wishbone, they're basically all the same thing. And then there's some kits, I have a link to some kits. So basically we need 2 per side. So you need 8 total, so an upper and lower.
Okay.
And then we can either buy them or try to machine them ourselves.
When you say buy it, can you show me that?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find.
Alibaba, Chinese.
Yeah, you can't, it's hard to find them in the US unless you go with like a ATV. These are like either go-kart or buggy kits.
Yep. Okay.
So they, some come with like steering columns and everything too. So this one's 85, which is really cheap.
That seems pretty reasonable to me.
And that's like one kit, because there's 4 there. Basically, you just buy 2. I think you can just buy the controllers. But it saves a lot of work to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it comes with bearings and bushings and stuff too.
We'll have plenty of other machining to do.
Yeah, so if you would like to do this one off, just like 2 of those, and then if you want to get a whole kit with some of them come with, I'll let you as mounts for shocks.
Yeah.
I think those made for bike shocks. Find different bolts.
Okay.
And then the mount, so how we mount that axle from the differential, we should still have to kind of figure out how to do it, but it's a little different than cars, because cars usually use spindles, and then they have a hub, it's a little different, but for the bikes, basically, I think we just need a bearing for the axle to go through, and then, because the axle attaches right to the wheel. And so we need a steering knuckle or a suspension knuckle or upright, we call it. This is another kit. I have a couple examples. These are on the off-road vehicles.
Yeah.
This is like, and this part we could machine or we could just buy. If we have a CNC machine or something, we can do
There is a CNC at the West Campus.
Yeah. So I mean, if we want to do that, and then we could get like the bore diameter and everything specific to that axle. Whereas these, I think, I don't know, the opening's probably big, and then we'd either have to find a bearing that fits, it's the same as the axle. But it's not too complicated. It's a little different too. I was going to talk about the steering.
Oh, yeah.
The rear, we don't have that unless we want to do 4-wheel steering.
No.
The rear, basically just attach the control arms like that. But the front, you need the, like a high joint or whatever it is, on the top so that whole thing can turn.
Yeah.
And then you need that steering arm
Sure.
too.
That was great.
And that's it. And the other thing I was gonna talk about is if we wanna do front wheel drive, because it's basically the same setup. I know why people go rear wheel. I know after looking at all this, I know why people, or you were looking at not doing suspension in the front.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. but
Yeah.
It looks like these guys have built a pretty sweet setup.
Yeah, a lot of people have done it, and I know front wheel drive is supposed to be a little more efficient than rear wheel.
Yeah, it can be. So go on though. Are you thinking of
So
just front wheel or just rear or all 4? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, we could just throw the differential up front, and then, I mean, it's, because we have to buy, basically we have to buy a part of this and a part of that anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be easy to do front wheel if it'll work out better.
The way I'm looking at that though is the shock in the way of the
They usually go
trans axle, I guess they call it?
in front or behind it, like that one.
Okay, so it does sneak right in.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
and it's
Okay.
pretty flexible, so it can. Yeah, this one's kind of poor design. A lot of them, they just ship that mount off to the side. But I think that kit had to be right in the middle too. That looks like someone just made. I can't remember that was from the go-kart. This is an RC car. But it's basically the same type of thing as we have.
Well, I mean, I guess I feel like, if we go ahead and buy this suspension, that will more or less dictate the frame that goes between our existing cab and the suspension.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it kind of constrains us to build a frame that accommodates this
Right.
suspension, so.
It's-
Do you feel, could we take, do they have CAD drawings available for their parts that we could just put into our existing CAD and then
They probably,
use that to connect the dots?
they might, I'm sure, I know a lot of places usually do. I think, I'm trying to think where.
You know, if not, we have the basic geometry, it'll just be a matter of, you know, drawing the geometry and then moving the control points on the thing, I would think.
Yeah, but we could at least get the dimensions of them, so we know. So like, what, it's like, what's gonna dictate is the width of control arm plus the
Yep.
steering knuckle plus the wheels. But that frame won't have to be too wide.
No, I like that.
So it'd be like, it basically just have to, like, I think you want like 3 rails, because I think you usually attach like the, you could probably do it either way, but usually you attach like the shock to the upper one, and then you have your 2 control arms.
Uh-huh. Just- You wanna try drawing here?
Oh, I could, yeah.
Yeah, let's draw here, I think this will share. There you go. So it's. Erase my squiggle too.
It's actually just so usually you'll have those control arms,
Yeah,
and then this steering knuckle,
yeah. Yeah.
and then the steering arm.
Right.
And then usually that shock will down across here.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And then you could attach it to that first one.
Yeah,
or
I
you
think
could
the
just-
shock does have to go in there as sort of a triangle, but otherwise it's just part of the 4-bar linkage and not doing much, right?
Yeah, so it has to actually attach to the frame.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's about it. And then,
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, it doesn't have to be very wide at all, because it's just the
Just-
width of that cab minus,
Just have that little nose out there, right?
and then that goes to,
That's kind of your windshield right there.
Yeah.
Cool.
and that's like the cab, so and that's even more size.
Yeah,
For that.
sure. I got it, okay. And that seems pretty straightforward to draw, and I think we have enough tubing out at West Campus to take care of it.
Yeah.
You were there when we went to West
Yeah.
Campus? Yeah, okay.
It's not a whole lot, it's pretty simple.
So so this, basically this part out here, so we've got the red is, this is, you know, draw and build.
Yeah.
The green, so we're looking, you're calling, this is the wishbone?
Yeah.
Calling that?
Control arm, A arms.
Yeah, so here's your shock right there.
Yeah.
What do you call this piece right here? Steerer tube or the?
Oh, steering knuckles?
Steering knuckle?
Yeah.
And then there's your control arm, so this is
Yeah.
by.
Or it's your steering. Yeah.
By.
We could machine it. Kit.
I like the kit. At this point, I'm kind of liking the kit.
And then basically this width just has to be, like the frame width minus 2 of those.
Mhm. And then, this part is already built. So we're looking at, this is 10, 14, 15. Okay. File, save as. Put it on the desktop. We'll call it,
Just make sure we plan on which side has the storage.
What's that?
We plan on which side actually has their little storage holder.
Oh, okay. For,
The luggage that we have to provide.
oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's almost oversized too on this. So there's gonna be basically anything on top of that, you can throw stuff on, in between.
We have something on top of it.
What's that?
We just have something on top of it.
Yeah, and then, like, the wheels would be about, that wide, but this whole thing, you could have storage here, and then anything in the back too.
Okay, so are you feeling, I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward. Have you done any CAD drawing yet at all?
I haven't done anything.
Okay. I know Colton's been pretty busy chasing his tail with work and everything. But let's just see if we can't, I think we just go ahead and buy the suspension. We're looking at, we're knocking on a month till I want to get the thing rolling. So I say, let's just go ahead and get the stuff ordered.
Yeah.
By Friday. Just get the prices, we'll send it to Naomi, she'll order it by Friday. The parts will come in, and I almost feel like if we went out there to West Campus, sort of showed them what we wanted, we might not even have to do a heck of a lot of drawing. Just, mock it up, clamp it up, set the tube out there, do some simple measurements, get those guys welding, and it gives them, gives us a few weeks to get our game plan together for assembly, gives them 4 weeks to do some welding, and go from there. Okay, how about the rear end?
So the rear end,
Take a look at that next.
yeah, basically the exact same. The only thing, instead of having,
I'll draw the car.
yeah,
I'm gonna wire it up, but so they don't have to wait when you go over at 4:30.
What's that?
I'm gonna go wire it up before you get there.
Oh, good, sweet, thanks. Be right over. Okay, so we just do the front end. I do not remember exactly where all the tubes are, but this is basically where we are with the cab. So you wanna start with the back? And I can just, you can draw in black.
okay,
It's just a little box.
yeah, so it's gonna be the same thing. I think it looks a lot shorter on the drawing, which it doesn't have to be that long, this just has to be like enough for like the wheel, the width of the wheel, so the wheel fits behind there. But then it's gonna be, the same thing coming off. But just that knuckle will be different, it won't have to have a steering arm, I think they usually still do. But it's just, instead of rotating, that knuckle will just stay.
It's just
flat.
fixed.
Yeah, and it just has a hole for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's not much.
So it's almost like a mirror image of the front end.
Exactly, yeah,
It really is.
Yeah, there's not much.
And it's critical, so we'll have, so so what we still need to figure out our motor.
I guess we will need to. Yeah, we don't need a differential, just need.
So, you know, so we got two options, and we'll just take this whole guy, edit, select all, edit, copy, new page, edit, paste. So go back here. So one option would be to have two motors. Head. One option would be have, you know, motor one over here, motor two over here. The other option would be to have just trying to get rid of the, crap. Yeah.
You hit select all.
Okay, there we go. The other option would be to have a differential. Gosh, this is weird. Pencil, pen, okay. The other option would be to have a well, different, I'll draw that as a different color. Green would be to have, you know, differential. We've got a couple options there. And then here's your chain. And then either just one motor, you know, it's just one motor off the sides, it's just, you know, M1, that's just getting kind of sloppy, sorry. M1, or if the motors can be driven, you know, one forward and one backward, we just mount the motors like, you know, like this into a sprocket. That goes to the chain. That goes to the, so here's motor one, motor two. Set it here. The wheels are here. Something like that. So we can still get two motors,
Yeah.
but just run everything through one chain differential.
Is that just to get more power, or is that?
Yeah, because I think the motors we have right now might not be big enough to
Okay.
run just a single motor.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, but, you know, even if we do run the differential, we can still incorporate two motors. And in this case, they're not really fighting each other, they're just, you know, they're running in, I mean, because the problem with this design, if you've got your wheels, sprocket, chain, you know, motor one, motor two, chain. So your, you know, your controller. You're gonna have to have like this, if you have a single controller, and both motors are getting the same signal, I mean, you might get lucky, and there's absolutely no difference between the motor. But even if, and they might just, you know, push the car equally, but then if you go to turn, you're gonna wanna program in a way to put more, you know, more voltage to the motor that you want to be turned. So, you know, if I want to make it turn this direction, this guy has to get more juice.
Yeah.
and Raphael was working on a prototype.
Oh, really, yeah?
And he had something, he had a little kind of miniature Arduino, but I never saw him upload it to the shell. He made a lot of fun, he spent a lot of time making fun of the differential, but they're out there on thousands. I mean,
Yeah.
they work, okay,
Yeah.
so it's an old technology, they work. This, I think, is doable, but it's just more challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to go either way, so, anyway.
And buying a new, more powerful motor is an option too?
It is an option too, yeah. But let's go ahead and start buying those suspensions.
Okay.
Yeah, get them in here, and that'll help us start building.
Yeah, I think we sourced most of that. The only other things have to do with the steering. I did see some kits that had the steering column in. I think they had some steering rods and stuff. I think that steering can get kind of complicated,
I just, if there's something out there that's kind of pre-built about our side, I don't see a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
so we probably just buy a kit with control arms.
Yeah, it might benefit you to take all this and copy it into an Excel, like just this part, so we can add things up
Okay.
a little better. Maybe just the top part, the rest looks great.
Okay.
Or if not, whatever, I'm not gonna micromanage it, do what you want. But it's gonna be critical that Naomi gets, each of the parts, so she can, nail the order exactly. 'Cause, I mean, there are plenty of ways to screw the thing up. If there's a way to put a shopping cart together with those guys, like everything in one shopping cart, so that you have control over everything we're buying, and she just has to push one button and buy the whole thing at once, that would be best.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if you can do one shopping cart. You can do like an Amazon thing, and you can link to all the different parts
Oh,
in like a wish list.
yeah,
You can do something like that.
okay.
But I mean, this is that some mega stuff. Some of this will just be, we could even buy like.
Some of that we can buy
kits.
locally, yeah.
And then the only other thing would be Alibaba or AliExpress.
Yeah, obviously, there's separate vendors.
And then the eBay stuff. But I can just go through lists like the site,
Mhm.
all the parts we ordered from there,
Yep.
eBay,
Yep,
and then all that.
let's do it, I'm ready.
So some of the stuff we might, I think that you need quotes for all this, but yeah, I think that's about it. It's just maybe wait on shocks until, or we wanna find shocks right away.
It'd be nice to have, a few, here's the way to go about, shocks. So, every shock is gonna have, it's a spring. And it's gonna have some spring constant, so it's Hooke's law, it's F equals K X, right? And so here's the force. It seems like these shocks are different, put them at different angles, but in general, as a first order approximation, if we've got, if the vehicle is, let's just say 600 pounds total, fully loaded, 600 lbs, that gives us 150 lbs per wheel. Now, we can pretty much figure that the weight, the loading will not be identical on all of them, but you can probably assume like a 60-40 distribution. So you might get this, let's just say as much as, well, if we give that guy, so this will be, maybe 120, 180 lbs per wheel. Now, this is the static load, this is going over no bumps. Typically, your dynamic load might be double that.
Okay.
So you might end up with, 240 to 3 60 per wheel dynamic, so dynamic, and this is gonna be static. So, each shock is also gonna have a maximum amount of travel. Let's call it 2 inches. So we're gonna basically design the thing so it doesn't bottom out. Okay. In general, what you could sort of imagine is that at, let's just go out this way. So here's unloaded, here's static, and here's dynamic. And we'll call this 0 inches, 1 inch, and 2 inches, for example. And again, I'm just kind of making these numbers up so we got something to play with. So if we know that, so what we're really trying to do is solve for K. We're trying to find an optimal K value. So K equals F over X. And then if we, let's just say we'll design it so we bottom out at our maximum dynamic load, double the static load. Again, that's just approximation. Could be triple. I'm just gonna estimate. So F equals, so we got 360, and our travel is 2 inches. So this is gonna give us a spring constant of 180 pounds per inch. Pretty simple.
Okay.
So that's it. You go about spec'ing the shocks.
Okay.
And that's I'm thinking probably on the more compliant end. You might I'm sure you can find shocks way stiffer than that. Some of them are actually tunable. But I'm thinking that's probably a reasonable range, right, for a spring constant on your shocks. And maybe 4 inches of travel would be better. I'm just kind of throwing it out there, but
Okay.
so that's how to go about the shock.
Should we wait on that, or should I just find something right around there?
I think find something there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like 150 or like 200 pound, and then I've seen, some of them are adjustable and different travel.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what their spring constants are. Okay, sweet. You guys ready?
Almost, I find it's full of wire.
You can go back to the quarters.